Okay, so this has been a highly requested video. What kind of foods should you eat? What kind of foods you should avoid? If you saw my last video, well, first of all, if you haven't saw my last video, check it out. But I went through how I basically eat 4,000 calories per day. And you noticed when I went through some of those foods you're probably like shaking your head like, are you sure you're supposed to be eating that? And the answer is no. But after a while, you can start to push the limits a little more. I'm gonna go with my initial limits of where I was, what I was eating, say a year or two ago, and I pushed these limits a little bit. So the line in between, on the left side, I got what I eat, and on the right side, I got what I avoid. But that line is kind of a little blurred in some areas. Now that I'm pretty healthy, now that I'm up 50 pounds, things are a little different. But you also know meal 5 is a shake, so I got 1,000 calorie shake here. We're ready to go. So basically my diet follows paleo format. So if you don't know what that is, super simple. I explain it like this. If it doesn't walk, fly, swim, or grow on the ground, it's not on my plate. Basically, if a caveman wasn't eating it, I don't want to eat it. I don't trust anything. I'm very skeptical. Like, I don't trust what corporations sell to us at fast food restaurants or what they sell to us really anywhere. I'm very skeptical, very, very skeptical of people's intentions when it comes to money. So this diet is also a low fiber diet, kind of. I don't think of it that way, but as I was making my list here, I noticed that I eat a lot of low fiber foods, not entirely, but anyways, let's get into it. So from the top, I start with my proteins. So I eat lean meats. So that's basically chicken and fish. When it comes to fish, I like salmon. Wild salmon is obviously the best, like Atlantic salmon. It's expensive, so you can eat farm-raised salmon. The nutrients, the macros are going to be similar. Like when I say macros, I mean calories and protein and that sort of the nutrition facts. The difference between the farm-raised and Atlantic, the wild salmon, is that the wild salmon is going to have a little bit more, vitamins and minerals. So not a big deal. Both are going to digest fine in your stomach. And when it comes to fish, I generally choose like baked instead of fried. I don't, especially not deep fried. I don't really suggest you going with deep fried foods unless you're really stable with Crohn's. Next up for carbs, potatoes. So you can have regular traditional potatoes, or I like sweet potatoes. Potatoes kind of have the same macronutrients, calories, carbs, and whatnot within them. Sweet potatoes, first of all, taste better. They're more sugary. They don't need any sort of, if you eat plain potatoes, sometimes you want to put things on them, and sometimes the things that you put on them are not necessarily healthy and might hurt your stomach. So I eat just plain sweet potatoes. They taste fine. They have lots of great vitamins within them. I also eat rice, specifically white rice. As long as it's not whole grain rice, it should be fine on your stomach. Quinoa is also a fine form of carbs. For fruits, I eat bananas a lot. I eat 2 bananas a day. I got one in this shake here, and I eat one after my workout along with the rest of my second meal. I eat muffins. Generally try to find muffins without a bunch of butter in it, but a lot of them do have butter, which is fine. Sometimes I eat pasta. Like when I'm sick of potatoes or rice, I switch over to pasta. Again, as long as it's not whole grain, like some sort of refined grain pasta, it should be okay. Now, when it comes to vegetables, a lot of people talk about skinless or, certain vegetables have skin and you should peel it and whatnot. I don't really follow that. Also, some fruits have like seeds. Strawberries, for example. I got strawberries in the shake. They say avoid fruits like that have seeds. I haven't had a bad experience with that. It may be different for you, so I wouldn't start eating a bunch of strawberries quite yet until you're comfortable and you got your diet kind of figured out. Whenever I'm eating vegetables, I always cook my vegetables for a couple of reasons. So first of all, it's going to be easier to digest. When you cook them, you're lowering the amount of fiber in them. And also, when vegetables are cooked, they're more dense. Like if you take a bunch of kale and you cook it, the kale will go from in the pot like this down to like this. And you can slice it out in multiple servings. And I down my kale before I eat any of my protein or my carbs on my plate within like 20, 30 seconds. It's gone. When it comes to bread, I generally avoid raised bread. And by that, I mean, instead of having a sandwich, I'll have like a wrap. If I go to Subway, you can get like a traditional bun or you can get flatbread. So I generally opt for the flatbread. If I am eating bread, like at breakfast, a lot of places serve toast and whatnot. First of all, I'll get the toast without any butter. And second of all, I'll get white instead of some sort of whole grain toast. When it comes to oats, again, I got a cup of oats in this thing. I go for quick oats or rolled oats rather than steel cut oats. They're going to be a lot easier to digest. And the last thing I got here is eggs or egg whites. I kind of got sick of eggs. If you like eggs, eat eggs, scrambled eggs, whatever. I kind of got sick of the flavor, so I eat egg whites. I got probably a dozen egg whites in this thing right here. Important note though, if you're eating egg whites, don't be buying eggs and cracking them open and taking the egg whites out of that. Don't be doing that. They're not pasteurized. You're gonna get sick. Okay, so that's basically what I eat. There's a bunch of more foods that I could eat, but that's generally what's in my regular diet. So basically, I eat everything that's not in the avoid list, and we're gonna go through right now that list, what I avoid. So first of all, no fried food. Limit your red meat, steaks, prime rib, any sort of red meat. Cut it. No dairy. You're getting a burger, it's bad enough. You got the bun, you got the red meat itself, you got some sort of dairy, mayo or something usually on it. Don't punish yourself a fourth time with cheese. Just burger, no cheese. If you are going to have cheese, you can try lactose free. Some doctors say that it should be fine. Some doctors recommend that Crohn's patients have a lactose free diet, but what I've found in experience is that it's the casein within the dairy is what actually causes the reaction in me. I'm going to probably buy some lactose free cheese and retest that because it's been something I've wanted to do for a while. It's just try some lactose free cheese. So I'll probably do that this week. But up until this point, really no dairy. A lot of people are like addicted or really obsessed with dairy and cheese. And how can you live without cheese or without pizza, cheese on your pizza? Honestly, you get used to it. You get used to it after a few years. And if you want to beat this disease as bad as I did, you'll have no problem living without dairy. Just cut it and move on. No nuts, no walnuts, no peanuts. I will have peanut butter sometimes, but even that sometimes it, will bother my stomach. I like to put peanut butter on a banana. Easy way to add a couple hundred calories to, 100 calorie banana, a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. The calorie count's going up quite quickly then. If I am going to have nuts, pistachios seem to digest the best with me. But other than that, I really do not touch nuts much at all. Although nuts are very dense in calories because they are made of fats. And if you watch my last video, we know that fats have over double the calories per gram than carbs and protein. I avoid unhealthy fats in general, actually. The next thing I got on my list here is to limit processed foods. That's a long list. I mean, processed foods, it goes all directions like a tree. There's so many processed foods out there. You just try to avoid them the best you can, or at least keep, if you have a diet structure, you got 5 meals in a day, 5 small meals, 0 or 1 of those meals will be processed. Do not make it 2 or 3 or eating out twice in a day. You just can't do that. So avoid corn, and I usually avoid popcorn. I don't really, if I'm having popcorn, I'll just have a couple handfuls and give the rest to whoever I'm with. As I mentioned earlier, avoid whole grains. So whole grains are everywhere. Your breads and pastas and oats, and you just try to pick the foods. Everyone thinks, it's healthier to eat whole grain. Well, not really for someone with stomach issues. It's not. I avoid sodas or fizzy drinks. Now, alcohol. I'm a 24-year-old male. Just got out of college a couple years ago. And to say the least, avoiding alcohol when in college was a pretty big struggle. You go to the bar, people are drinking, everyone wants to drink. You're talking to people. It's just... everywhere you go in college to socialize, it involves drinking. So it's really hard to break out of that. If you have a date over, if I have a date over here at my apartment, what are we going to do? Crack a bottle of wine and drink. I mean, that's normally what people do on dates. They normally drink. You go somewhere, you go for dinner, order a bottle of wine, you drink. So when it comes to alcohol, generally I try to avoid it. In the winters, basically how I structure it is, I live in Canada, so we have a long winter. And so in the winter, I don't socialize much. I mostly focus on my work and my health and going to the gym and my diet and everything to do with that. So about 9 months of the year, I don't really have an issue avoiding alcohol. Now in the summer, June, July, August, it gets tricky avoiding alcohol because I live actually on a beach here and people are always at my door. We want to party, things are always going on. And before you know it, you end up drinking 4 or 5 days in a row and you're like, I can't go on like this. So when it comes to alcohol, there's a few things. I like to avoid beer in general. Now, I don't know much about beer, but I believe you can find a form of low yeast beer. I'm not talking one of those health beers, but there's a major brand. It's Bud Light or something. Someone was telling me about, has very little yeast in it. So if you're into beer drinking, I recommend you research into that. But I generally avoid beer. Wine is probably the best alcohol option. If it's not a wine environment, like you're going to a nightclub, you're not going to order wine, usually vodka, water. Or my other thing that I do, my buddy recommended this, is get like tonic water with no alcohol and just put a lime in it. And it looks like you're drinking. Like they normally put that in a fancy glass, so it looks like you're drinking. People just think you're drinking like tonic with vodka or something in it, but you're not. It's actually works amazing, because sometimes when you're out and you're young, your friends, they don't mean to be this pressuring, but sometimes they're like, come on, Josh. Like if you see me drinking water, if I got a bottle of water, like, Josh, come on, drink, have a shot. I'll buy it for you. I'll buy a shot. I'm like, man, I don't want your shot. Like I don't want to drink tonight. I need to watch out for my health. And so, yeah, either wine or vodka water. Otherwise, I find some sort of way to get out of drinking. And the last thing on my list is, I almost forgot it, is I avoid spicy foods, even a little bit of spice. And this is difficult. If you're a dude, if you're a male, girls don't really seem to have this issue, but for some reason it's some sort of masculine battle of who can like handle spicy food or not. They'll be like, you'll notice, guys can probably relate to this. Girls might see it go on, but they'll be like, one boyfriend will be like, here, try this. It's not even that spicy. And it's like some sort of stupid pepper. And it's like, who can like pretend it's not even that spicy when in fact it's burning both their, it's just the silliest thing. Guys just do dumb things. But anyways, so the way to get out of like, this is kind of off topic, but when guys are kind of like showing off their masculinity or whatever usually in front of girls or something stupid, I just recommend you go to the gym, you put on size, you put on muscle. I put on 50 pounds of muscle. I look differently now. Masculinity isn't really a challenge anymore with your friends. And as I gain, 60, 70, 80 pounds, it's going to continue changing. And so whatever, go to the gym, your life will be better. That's all I got for now. Any questions, let me know. I do plan to make more videos. This is now my third video. By the time you're watching this, I probably got half a dozen or a dozen up. So do subscribe. Check out the rest of the channel. If you have any questions, I'm really happy to help. I mean, I've done really well with Crohn's disease, and I hope some of you, I get some messages there. It's sad. Some people are I got one today. I'm in the hospital for 19 days or something. It's heartbreaking to hear. I haven't spent that long in a hospital. The most I spent in a hospital was about 8 days. And it was very, very sad time in my life. Very skinny, 8 hoses hooked up. I had the 4 IVs, 2 art lines, that one hose that goes in your nose and then goes down to your stomach so they can pump your stomach out, and then the catheter, and I was just bed locked. It was about 2 years ago now. So anyways, hopefully never have to revisit that again. Keep eating right, I drink one of these every single night and have for almost a year now. I've had this in my diet as my last meal before bed. It's great. Digest easily, go to bed, and your metabolism slows down overnight. So I believe eating before bed helps you gain weight. They always say if you're trying to lose weight, don't eat before bed. Go to bed on an empty stomach. But when you have Crohn's and you're trying to gain weight, you do the opposite, right? So you eat before bed. Anyways, any questions, let me know. Happy to help. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, because I do plan to answer more important questions on here and share and document my success as I put on more pounds. Around 156 right now. I hope to be into 160s by Christmas. We got two more months, 4 pounds to go. So I'll be excited when I'm in the 160s, and then we'll on to the 170s. So anyways, bye for now, guys.